What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right. What is it? Sunday night? Jeez, how did that happen so quick? All right. It's the Sunday night Radio Baloney Live. I'm your host, Richie Baloney. Looks like we got Jesse in the chat already. Good to see you. All right. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope you had a good weekend, Jesse. I had a nice one. It was very good. But let's get on to the menu. What are we going to talk about? Well, Trump has won a defamation suit. Well, he settled a defamation suit against ABC News. ABC News is giving him money. The speculation as to why the settlement, it wasn't a judgment. It was a settlement. It's my understanding, but we'll get to the story. We'll talk about that. What do we got next? We got Trump says Biden's border wall sale must be stopped. So yes, I guess Biden became a border wall king, discount center, and is selling off all of the stuff that Trump was going to use to finish off the wall. He's selling it off at pennies on the dollar. This is insane. I mean, what hasn't been insane over the Biden administration? It's all just been insane. We'll talk about that. Look at this. Selling off all of this. They'd already sold off a bunch of it already, but they're trying to get rid of the last of it. Maybe there's corruption involved. Maybe Biden knows somebody who knows somebody, and somebody's making some money. So I'll tell you what, somebody's making some money off this, selling this at pennies on the dollar. Maybe it's just to spite Trump. Maybe it's just hold off that border wall as long as possible. Just squeak as many people in as possible. In the meantime, Biden grants clemency to ex-doc sentenced to 20 years for diluting cancer patients' chemotherapy drugs. So he's pardoning or granting clemency to all of these, 1,500 people. And as they go through the details of who these people are, it's looking weirder and weirder. I mean, last time we talked about the Cash for Kids judge. What? Something's going on. Something stinks, I will tell you that much. All right. What do we got here? Got some Trump derangement. So here is some anti-Christmas cheer from some Trump deranged people, some people whose brains have been parasitized by a mind virus called Trump derangement syndrome. Yes, an idea pathogen has infected their brains, and now they go out into public. You have to understand. You ask, how could they do that? How could they be so dumb? How could they embarrass themselves like this in public? You have to remember they no longer have agency. Their brain has been taken over, and it forces them to do things like this. Maybe they're trapped in there, and in their mind, there's a voice in their mind saying, no, somebody please help me. I don't want to be standing out here in the cold singing an idiotic song about how much I hate Trump. I don't know. I guess maybe one day we'll find out. Let's see. Schumer presses Mayorkas to deploy special drone detection tech. So this is the New Jersey drone thing. I don't know what the hell's going on, but there's more news. We got some news from Canada. Of course, we're going to cover some Canadian news. We got Jagmeet Singh there, who just was talking about old white men he doesn't like, or older white men he doesn't like, and now he's lecturing on hate, and the whole thing is totally retarded, just like him. So, yeah, we got lots of stuff going on. Here we got some stuff on Trump. So, yeah, this is to do with the settlement, $15 million settling the defamation lawsuit from ABC. Trump is tweeting hilarious things out. We'll take a look at that. Here we've got Van Jones. Van Jones admitting Trump is actually smart, even smarter than him, amazingly. So that's funny. I like seeing that. Let's see. We've got a great exchange between Elias Makos and Pierre Poilievre, and it doesn't disappoint. We'll get to that when we get to it. We've got Kevin O'Leary, who's been really, really knocking it out of the park. There he's doing an interview in his pajama bottoms, because I guess nobody can see that part, which is hilarious. We've got weirdos, just crazy dingbats. I don't know what the hell's going on. This used to be like fashion show runways. They do crazy, gross stuff like this. Now it's just normal. Now there's everybody. I don't know what the pronouns are. Let's see. We got memes. Memes are always fun. We've got Gorlock the Destroyer makes a return appearance. So, of course, we'll talk about Gorlock. Let's see. We've got Eric Adams, who's just going full MAGA at this point, which is hilarious. And it says something here. We've got something. This was, did Rosie send this to me? I think, was this Adam? Did Adam send? I can't remember. Somebody sent this to me, though. I've got some stuff from you, definitely Rosie, too. I think Rosie sent me this, and yeah, it's 100%, 100% true. We got a squirrel who's best friends with this guy who plays saxophone in the park. That's awesome. I love that. I wouldn't mind a squirrel friend for myself, to be honest. So lots and lots of stuff. Of course, we have our palette cleansers. We've got the puppy palette cleanser for when things get too dark. The news gets so dark sometimes. Sometimes you need a bit of a break. You need a palette cleanser. Something to lighten the mood a little bit. So we've got that. We also have cooking shows for that as well. Bruschetta, sandwich making, and of course, the classic, the greatest of all time, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Noodle Lady, who we all love. All right. So that's when things get too heavy. We'll take a little break. We always do that. You guys know that. All right. So we got Izzy in the chat. We got Rosie in the chat. We got Jesse in the chat. Good to see everybody. What are you guys blabbering about? Izzy says, I'm almost on time. Almost on time. He's number two in there. I think Jesse was first. That means Jesse got the very lucrative first like on the stream, which of course gives you double good karma. The rest, you still get your good karma. It's just you don't get the double for the first one. Let's see. Hey, Rosie, how you doing? Let's see. Beautiful full moon. We have clouds, though, she says. Uh-oh. Rosie says, Gorlock. Ooh. Gorlock knows what Gorlock is and is profiting off of it, off of being that. As he says, weird, I think are the pronouns. Very possibly true. Rosie says, Adam sent that one you asked about, so that was Adam. That's right. That's right. Thank you, Adam, if you're out there listening. Let's see. Izzy says, careful, New York pet control might come for the squirrel. Apparently, they're obsessed with that. They won't rest until they've euthanized all of the nice squirrels, all of the friendly squirrels. And Rosie says, Jesse won the karma. That's double good karma for Jesse. Nice work, my friend. Nice work. So we had a great stream on Friday. We went about 5.5 hours. We had I think a lot of people ended up being on that, in and out. Not, not everybody watches the whole 5.5 hours. But we had a lot of people in and out, bunch of new subscribers. Guess what? We hit 5,700 subscribers on Rumble. 5,700. So now we've got our site set for 5,800, 59, and then 6,000. Which is, and by the way, let me say this. I have double the subscribers on YouTube, but I get right now I'm getting about the same amount of views, which is crazy. It says something about Rumble, doesn't it? I think Rumble doesn't hide my content, right? And Rumble's been killing YouTube all year, actually. It's just recent, the last month and a half, YouTube has caught up to it. But Rumble had been killing it with half the subscribers. I mean, I'm talking about getting like double, 3, 4 times as many views. All right, we got JJ Nevada in the chat. Good to see ya. Just hit the like button. Why doesn't everybody do that? Everybody should be doing that immediately. It's really best for everybody. All right. Now, just a reminder, we start the stream both on YouTube and Rumble at the same time. But for censorship reasons and all kinds of problems, we go an hour with YouTube, and then we cut that off when we continue on with the Rumble. So the Rumble stream will end up being, I don't know, 2-3 hours, something like that. I never know for sure. the Sunday night one. But the Rumble portion of it, or sorry, the YouTube portion of it will only last about an hour. Just because it's just easier for everybody that way, unfortunately. I wish I could do it the whole time on YouTube as well, but it just becomes too much of a pain in the ass. And there's too many problems, and there's too much censorship stuff going on. So we got about an hour, maybe less. It could be less. I feel like this is going to be a shorter stream tonight, but probably about an hour with YouTube. You might want to consider jumping over to Rumble, and then you can watch uninterrupted. All right. So now what are we doing? What is our mission? Our mission is to find out what the hell's going on with this. Trump wins millions in defamation suit against ABC News and George Stephanopoulos. What does Trump call him? He calls him Scumonopolis or something like that, or Lionopolis or something like that. I don't know. Or Fakeonopolis or something. I don't know, but something like that. Something totally appropriate. Trump won $15 million in statements of regret from the network and Stephanopoulos. I mean, if Trump got paid for all of the lies from mainstream media, it would be more than the GDP of the world. Like, if he could just get a settlement for every lie from every outlet that has lied about him, not only in the United States, across the world. I mean, it would be in the trillions at this point. But he got 15 million, which he's donating to charity, by the way. Because he's Trump. That's why, look at that. Thumbs up. He's happy. See, he got, and here's the amazing thing. He actually got it. So, it wasn't corruptly, taken from him in some way. But I guess it's a settlement. So ABC News decided, this has gone on long enough. And for whatever reason, and we can speculate about it, whatever reason, they're just going to call it off. Probably nothing to do with the fact that Trump's becoming president, that he's the president-elect. I feel like that might have something to do with it. All right, Poesy Poet, how you doing? Good to see you. It's been a while. Let's see. All right, Nevada says Trump would be a trillionaire. I don't think that's crazy. Incoming President Donald Trump has won millions in a defamation lawsuit against ABC News and veteran anchor George Stephanopoulos. Who repeatedly stated on air that Trump was found, quote, liable for rape, despite that not being the case. Yes, that was never the case. That was a lie. I mean, one of hundreds of thousands of lies told about Trump. Stephanopoulos made the remark nearly a dozen times while interviewing Representative Nancy Mace, who says she's been the victim of rape herself. Court documents show that a settlement between Trump and ABC include the network paying $15 million to the president-elect as a charitable contribution to a presidential foundation and museum to be established by or for plaintiff as presidents of the United States of America have established in the past. All right. The network will also have to fork over $1 million for Trump's attorney fees. So it's not actually an enormous amount of money for ABC. Although, who knows? I mean, the ratings are so bad. And that may actually be. Maybe that'll break them. Who knows? Let's see. Well, Cobra is already asking for more commie hate. I mean, we're going to get there. We're going to get to the commie hate, Cobra. We're going to get there. Come on. Let's see. Additionally, Stephanopoulos and ABC News will issue statements of regret about the anchor's repeated lie about Trump, Fox noted. The statement reads as follows, quote, ABC News and George Stephanopoulos regret statements regarding President Donald J. Trump made during an interview by George Stephanopoulos with Representative Nancy Mace on ABC's This Week on March 10th, 2024. I don't feel like they meant it. I want more. I want something videoed. It's a statement. I want a video and I want tears. That's not enough. I don't think that's sincere. During the interview with Mace, Stephanopoulos said 10 times that Trump was liable for rape, though a federal jury found Trump liable for sexual abuse against controversial journalist E. Jean Carroll. Yes, from 30 years ago. Of course, this was in Manhattan, so Trump was totally going to get fair treatment there. Let's see, 30 years ago, she couldn't get her story straight, and yet, well, it's Trump. What are you going to do? I mean, I truly like a non-reliable witness in E. Jean Carroll. Like, her story didn't add up. There was a dress she was saying she was wearing that didn't even exist at the time. It was just entirely the word of obviously a crazy lady against Trump's. But again, it's Orange Man. Orange Man, New York. Well, that's how it goes. In 2019, Carroll discussed the sexy connotation of rape and rape fantasies on air during a CNN interview with 360 host Anderson Cooper, who quickly threw to commercial. That's hilarious, that clip. You can see he's like, uh-oh. He's like, uh-oh, okay, now she sounds crazy, and that's not good because that doesn't go with the narrative I'm pushing. It might make me look like maybe I'm not objective or something, or I'm just a propagandist. Quote, I wasn't thrown on the ground and ravished, Carroll said on air, which the word rape has so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual. It hurt. Not sexual. It hurt. She claimed before adding, I think most people think of rape as being sexy. Yeah, that didn't go over. Yeah, you could see Anderson Cooper sweating. It's like, oh, God damn it. God damn it. We want to get him. We want to make him look bad. Now we just look bad. Additionally, drawing attention, Carroll joked about a spending spree with the judgment money she was awarded, which is exactly how you would react, of course. You would joke about spending sprees. Let's see. Go shopping, get completely new wardrobes, new shoes. Rachel, what do you want? Penthouse? Her lawyer nervously says, that's a joke. Yeah, because the whole thing wasn't real is the thing, right? She was thrilled because she got away with it. She just made up something ridiculous. She hated Trump, made up something ridiculous, and got away with it just because the corruption of the legal system. Trump has denied the allegations made by Carroll and was never criminally charged. Yet they never mention that. They never mention that. They just lie to make it seem as bad as possible, and they never tell the other side of the story. Why would they? That's not their job. If they did, they'd get fired because their job is not to inform you, it's to manipulate you and everybody across the world. If they want to get paid, they got to do that. Anyway, so 15 million. It's not going, Trump's not taking it, sticking it in his back pocket. Right. It's going to go to a foundation. So why would ABC News do it? I mean, for one thing, they're guilty dead to rights. It's just that the problem is with this sort of thing, with the defamation suits, they're very, very difficult. Very difficult. One reason to settle is to not have to go into discovery and show all your text messages related all around it. That can be very embarrassing for propaganda outlets. Another one might be simply that Trump's getting into office, and you know what? We've ruined our reputation so much. Maybe it's best to just get off to a fresh start. Maybe there's genuine fear of retribution by Trump. I mean, Trump isn't going to start, regardless of what, I don't know, like the ladies on The View or Rachel Maddow might say, whatever, he's not going to round up all the journalists and stick them in camps. But maybe there are people at the top that are genuinely Trump deranged, and maybe they genuinely think that. I don't know. But it's settled, and it's good, and it's a win for Trump. And they are absolutely guilty of it. They are. He said it on, it's a straight up lie. Stephanopoulos told a straight up lie that you have to assume that somebody so plugged in must have known it was a lie. Must have, although you can never rule out incompetence or just laziness. Because I guess, if the job is just simply to just get on air and make up shit about Trump or misinterpret things in absolutely the worst ways possible to spin a narrative, you would get lazy after a while. I mean, if objectivity has absolutely nothing to do with it, right? It's just, hey, we'll just say ridiculous things, and our idiot audience, our parasitized audience will just eat it all up. In fact, they'll be mad at us if we don't. If we tell them the truth, they'll be mad. They'll stop watching. They'll go to the Young Turks or something, or I don't know. So it'd be easy to just get lazy, especially when your audience is just so credulous and they just demand to be lied to. They want to be lied to. They'll be satisfied by nothing less than ridiculous, delusional, catastrophizing lies. I mean, who really heard the news that Trump at a rally had threatened a bloodbath if he doesn't win? Clearly he was going to start just slaughtering the people who didn't vote for him, all of his enemies. He was going to slaughter them. Who heard that? How many people could have really heard that and not thought in the back of their minds, and not thought something in just some lonely cluster of neurons in the back of their mind didn't say, hey, wait a second. He can't possibly have said he's going to start slaughtering everybody if he loses. I don't doubt there are people stupid enough, people whose brains have been parasitized enough to do, but it can't be that many people. It can't be that many. Certainly not the people spouting this nonsense. Certainly not the teleprompter readers. They can't be that stupid. Oh, you know what, honey? I just heard that, just saw on the news there, Trump's going to slaughter everybody. Yeah, if he doesn't get elected, he's just going to slaughter everybody. Well, that doesn't sound good. Oh, well, I'm not voting for that guy. I'm not voting for a guy who threatens to slaughter everybody if he doesn't win. Absolutely not. What do you think, honey? Oh, no, I know. The news told me that's definitely true. Who could possibly believe that? So again, I guess maybe my point is that if they got sued for defamation for all of their defamation, I mean, it'd have to be in the trillions. It'd have to be the GDP of Earth for all of those lies, for all of that 95% negative coverage of Trump over 8 years and endless lies. It would have to be in the trillions. I mean, they must have told, how many lies could they have possibly have told, or repeated lies? It's got to be thousands and thousands of times. All right, anyway, I'm off to a flying start. What's going on? Let's get to the chat before we move on. Let's get to the chat. What are we, 25 minutes in already? Cobra has a great point here. He says, like and subscribe. That's a great idea. Everybody do that right now. Super. Let's see how many likes we have. Well, that's not enough. We need more than that. Way more than that. But again, you know what? Just hit 5,700 subscribers on Rumble. I'm very happy about that. So let's try and get it to 6,000 on Rumble, you guys. I mean, I've got what, 12,400 on YouTube, but I get actually the last couple of months slightly less views on YouTube than I get on Rumble, which is an amazing thing, right? So Rumble just wins all around. I gotta say it. I love you guys that watch me on YouTube. I love you guys, but I gotta say they're really knocking it out of the park on Rumble. Let's see. All right, what are we going on here? So we got Cobra in the chat. We already welcome Cobra. Let's see. Rosie says, I can think of no assault victim, and I know many who would joke or celebrate a court outcome with shopping and talking about it. Yeah. Come on. It was obviously, I mean, there was never any evidence in the first place. It was her word against his, and she couldn't even get her story straight. It was because Orange Man. That's why. And Nevada says Trump isn't going to take a paycheck for being president either. No, absolutely not. He's setting a good example there. Let's see. Cobra says he's fantastic. Nevada says he really is. Trump is amazing. Really. I mean, every up and coming, conservative leader across the Western world, unfortunately just can't hold up. Because Trump is such a singular figure. He really is such a singular historical figure that I like Pierre Poilievre. I think he's doing a good job. I'm cautiously optimistic about him. And I'm enthusiastic about voting for him. But he's not Trump, and there ain't no Trumps. There just aren't any other Trumps. Nigel Farage in the UK, he's not Trump. He's just not. Especially not lately. All right. Who's the only kind of guy who can kind of compare is Milei, Javier Milei in Argentina. He's a singular figure too. He's in a smaller pond. But he's a pretty interesting guy. He's probably the most interesting guy after Trump. So I would say he's Argentina's Trump for sure. And he's hilarious. Yeah, he's pretty damn cool. Yeah, Milei is pretty awesome. Let's see. Radio Streamer, how you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. Oh, Izzy says that he should at least get his legal fees covered for the lawfare. He is. They're paying him $1 million for his legal fees. Radio Streamer says, hello, my fellow degenerate, deplorable, basket-dwelling, orange Hitler-following, openly racist, bigoted, ableist, white cisgendered, God-fearing fascists. Okay, I channeled CNN describing us. Nicely done, Radio Streamer. As he says, think you forgot commie hating. You did forget. But that would be CNN describing us, though. So they might not throw that in there. Cobra asks, maybe we can get Trump on here and make him a fellow Balonian. If only. Let's see. All right, let's see who else we got in here. We got Much Joy over on the YouTube side. Good to see you. Let's see. Rosie asks, so why are things going in favor of Trump sometimes now? Could it have to do with the election outcome? So some are coming to their senses. Well, yeah, I mean, we just went through it, I think above everything we've already talked about, there's just also just a change in the air, right? It's a reset. There's a reset happening. TDS isn't going to cut it anymore. I know it still exists. It's still on The View. It's still on MSNBC. I know Joy Reid is still spewing out her poison, her toxic poison, every show. But there's definitely a change in the air. It's a feeling of a reset. Not just upon the United States, upon the Western world, in my opinion. Let's see. All right. MHJ35, good to see ya. Let's see. Chat not displaying on Rumble for you. Maybe just try refreshing the page. It might work. Nevada says, if you go outside, there's a full moon and not some alien orb. Alien orb. I like the alien orbs. They're fun. Let's see. All right. Well, let's move on to the next story then, shall we? Should we move on? Crazy. Trump says Biden's border wall sale must be stopped. It is crazy. Let's just repeat that. Crazy. Trump says Biden's border wall sale must be stopped. It will cost the U.S. a fortune, Trump said. It is crazy, but it's what you would expect. Like under the Biden administration, just crazy stuff. I couldn't believe it when I saw that Biden had been suing Texas to prevent them from putting up border barriers, to prevent people from illegally crossing the border. I thought, how does that, How was that decision made? I mean, what incredible hubris. That should be in any other election, right? That would just be totally disqualifying immediately. Like that's a guaranteed loss. Now, of course, he would have lost, but they just wouldn't have had the gumption to even try that. They wouldn't have had the nerve to even try that. I mean, it just seems like political suicide. Not that much was even made of it in the news, to be honest. I mean, certainly the pro-Biden and then pro-Kamala Harris news, they weren't interested in dwelling on that. But total Lucy, maybe it was the hubris of knowing that the media was going to ignore it or cover for them. I don't know. But selling off the border wall, the materials to make the border wall, they've been doing that the whole time, by the way, selling it at pennies on the dollar. But selling that off right before the new president, who's made it very clear he likes walls, beautiful big walls. He likes them. He wants to do more walls. It's beyond belief, the shamelessness of it. President-elect Donald Trump called on the Biden administration to stop its effort to sell off tons of border wall construction materials before Trump takes office. Government contractors in Arizona have been hauling off tons of steel bollards and fencing purchased under the first Trump administration to be used in border wall construction, according to exclusive video obtained by the Daily Wire. The materials have been posted on a government surplus auction site at starting bids as low as $5. Now, of course, the first thing your mind goes to is spite, but then secondly, it goes to, or maybe it goes there first, is corruption. Biden knows a guy who knows a guy, and they're making some money off this, buying this stuff dirt cheap at pennies on the dollar. Somebody's going to make a lot of money off this, right? And it seems very deliberate. This is being done as if it's the intent is to rip off the government, as if the intent is corruption. So why wouldn't you expect that? I mean, why wouldn't that actually be the very first thing that goes to your mind after we've seen the Biden pardon, where he pardoned Hunter for this long period of time that includes a lot of the time where he was doing things for his dad that people have a lot of questions about, doing things for the big guy. So after that, I mean, this whole idea that, Biden is a man of integrity and a good man, that's just gone, right? Like nobody can even pretend to believe that anymore. But let's take a look at something. Let's watch this. So that's the bidding starts at $5. But how much would you be surprised if the whole auction is rigged anyway? Just dirty from top to bottom. So bidding starts at $5, maybe goes for 50. Who knows, right? What are the chances that there's profiteering, that there's corruption happening here? What are the chances that in some way the Biden family or people close to the Biden family or some connections they have are involved in this in some way? I'm going to say 99.9%. After the Hunter pardon, and God knows I mean, he's also now pardoned like 1,500 other people, right? I think the reason why he did so many, the most ever, is just so it will take as long as possible for people to pick through that and go through each one to find the Biden connection. I think that's probably why. That makes sense to me. But people wouldn't be shocked. Nobody would be shocked if if this was some sort of corruption connected to the Bidens, right? Profiteering connected to the Bidens. People would be shocked if it wasn't at this point. People would be shocked if it was not. Because why wouldn't it be? Because the corruption is so far reaching, it's almost infinite at this point. All right. Just total madness, right? Trump posted about this fire sale on Truth Social. He said, quote, Joe Biden keeps talking about a smooth transition and unified government, and yet he races to sell desperately needed border wall for pennies on the dollar. It will cost the U.S. a fortune and time to get the exact same wall to replace what has been sold, and the new wall will cost triple the price. It is crazy and must be stopped. Maybe part of the motivation, maybe it's like a multi-pronged motivation here. So just profiteering, just corruption with the Biden family, people connected to the Bidens, there's a kickback coming somewhere along the way. Maybe it's to just spite, because Joe Biden is a hateful, spiteful man. And maybe it's also just to try and slow down the process of securing the border to allow as many people still to flood into the United States as possible before it's too late. Because clearly that was the plan, Joe Biden's plan, right? Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, they didn't fail at the border. They succeeded beyond their wildest dreams, because it is clear as day. What else could it be other than that they were trying to get people across? Biden said as much. He said as much when he was campaigning in 2020. He said as much. Right? They did everything, including suing Texas to prevent them from putting up border barriers. They had, a phone app to facilitate the process of actually flying people into the United States. I mean, it's unbelievable. They're facilitating it. They were encouraging it. They were trying to keep it secret. They were flying people into cities all over the United States. Clearly, it was a plan. They didn't fail at the border. They succeeded beyond their wildest imagination. I'm sure they couldn't believe their good fortune, how long they were able to get away. They were able to get away with it basically the entire time. In Arizona, a trucking company contracted by the government is hauling off an estimated half-mile worth of wall materials every day, and government officials want all the extra materials cleared and listed for sale by Christmas. Got to do it quick before Trump gets in, according to one Border Patrol agent who spoke to the Daily Wire. I have to think that the incoming administration is going to make a priority to look into this, to trace every dollar, every penny, where all this material went, what exactly happened here. The sell-off appears to be an attempt to slow the implementation of Trump's agenda after the former president takes office again on January 20th. Without the ready supplies, the Trump administration will have to buy more and may be forced to request additional funding through Congress in order to get more materials. Well, he controls Congress, so that won't be a problem, but yet there's a delay. The revelation related to the border wall sale has earned harsh criticism from Republicans who say the operation is wasteful and amounts to sabotage. Senator Eric Schmidt of Missouri demanded the effort be stopped in a letter to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin last week. Well, yeah, that's not going to work, is it? Quote, while recouping less than 0.02% of taxpayer money used to secure these materials, the Biden administration is sabotaging the incoming Trump administration just weeks ahead of President Trump's inauguration. They're obviously rushing it. They're rushing it through before he gets in. Maybe that is the main motivation, is sabotage. And then just the inevitable corruption around that. That's just the gravy on top. That's just the cherry on top of the sundae. And not to mention the spite. All right. You guys have probably got something to say about it. We got Steve Tollison over on YouTube. How you doing? Good to see you in the chat. Let's see. Let's see. Nevada saying Biden sold a bunch of fence a couple of years ago. Yeah, they didn't just start now. That's correct. Izzy says, yeah, they need the money to cover Kamala's election shortfall. Yeah, they're broke. They can't pay anybody. They're starting up GoFundMes. Izzy says they're just getting rid of the evidence of the damage caused by leaving it sitting for 4 years. Well, maybe that's part of it. Nevada says Arizona is a mess. Last time the new owners just scrapped it and made a fortune. As he says, of course it is. You can just bet there's people on both sides trying to make a buck off the corruption. Oh yeah, it seems inevitable at this point, right? Let's see. Yeah, Tollison says completely outrageous. Jesse says it was tax money, so selling it for a loss is theft. Well, it's totally insane. I mean, it's so crazy, but they just don't care. I mean, when you've got the media, 95%, the media is in your pocket, or you're in the media's pocket, or something, or it's a combination of the two. I guess it gives you I think it provides a lot of hubris for them on both sides, actually. And there's a sense that you can just get away with anything and it doesn't matter. And to a certain extent, it's kind of true. Let's see. Rosie says maybe allowing and publicizing is a way to preserve visible crimes for future convictions. Well, I've got a feeling that the Trump administration is going to want to follow the money on this one, follow the money trail and see where it leads. Let's see. Rosie says, what is the expiration date of Hunter's pardon? Well, it's 2014 to December. Was it December 1st, 2024? Maybe it's December 30th. I think it was December 1st, though, 2024. So I think right now, any crimes he commits, but Biden's still got a little while left. He's still got a little over a month left, right? For pardoning, for more pardons. Let's see. Izzy says Biden's just a puppet. His crimes are just a side gig. He clearly isn't the one in control. He's never been. Who believes that he's ever been in control? I mean, I think he's been doing things in his own interest, but in terms of the big picture, no. Let's see. Nevada says it ends the day they prove Biden was illegitimate. Radio Streamer says it would be great if the senile old man rolls Obama after he gets out. Well, he doesn't seem to be able to really control what he says very well, does he? Maybe something will just slip out. As he says, I've been convinced by the taxation is theft argument at this point. And Nevada makes a good point. Radio, they hate each other. Obama and Biden do apparently hate each other. Apparently, Obama never had any respect for Joe whatsoever. There was the statement, well, credit it to Obama. Don't underestimate Joe's ability to fuck things up. Steve says the big question is who actually is in control. Nobody really knows for sure. There's a cabal that's in control, though. Let's see. Let's move on. Biden grants clemency to ex-doc sentenced to 20 years for diluting cancer patients' chemotherapy drugs. This is one of the 1,500. And some of these just seem bizarre. Yet it makes me feel like it's so many people. I believe it's the most ever. It almost feels like, he's trying to make, it kind of feels like he's hiding ones in there. There's so many, it'll take so long for people to pick through and find the connections to the Bidens and corruption that he's just throwing it out. So it's just this big mess that'll take forever to get through. That's what it feels like to me. Because you look at some of these, they don't even make sense. Now, there are some. We do have to make a correction from last stream. So we talked about the Cash for Kids judge who was being paid to throw kids into juvenile detention, who's been pardoned or granted clemency by Joe Biden. And also this CCP agent who had 47,000 files of CP. And it turns out there's a community notes on this. It says this was part of a planned prisoner swap announced last month. He is being permanently deported to China along with 2 nationals in exchange for 3 Americans. So that's what's really going on with that guy. So wanted to make sure we corrected that. But still, you got the Cash for Kids doc. That's weird. You got this lady who, diluted cancer patients' chemotherapy drugs. That's really bad, right? That's not a good person. President Joe Biden granted clemency to nearly 1,500 Americans this week, including to a former doctor convicted of Medicare fraud for providing diluted chemotherapy drugs to cancer patients. Really? This is the person you want? That's just evil. That's incredibly evil. The commutations, which the White House is lauded as has lauded as, quote, the largest single-day grant of clemency in modern history, has drawn significant criticism, as some of those on the list have been reported on. According to a report from the Washington Free Beacon, several recipients were involved in serious offenses. So you've got Mira Sachdeva, a Mississippi doctor, was sentenced to 20 years in prison in 2012 for defrauding Medicare and was required to reimburse $8.2 million to her former cancer facility. She provided cancer patients with diluted chemotherapy drugs. That's just straight up evil. She also provided them with old needles, which resulted in one patient claiming to have gotten HIV from a needle used by her clinic. What, did she do some business, with Hunter Biden or something? What's going on here? This is all super evil. Why this person? This is insanity. Again, makes me wonder if he's just throwing so much out there with all of these pardons, throwing so much out there that it's to hide certain individuals, that it's to hide certain individuals, that he doesn't want people looking at too closely. Makes me wonder. The White House announced that the individuals who received clemency had demonstrated rehabilitation and a strong commitment to making their community safer. So she promised that she's not going to dilute cancer drugs or give people AIDS needles anymore. Okay, a strong commitment to making their community safer. I just feel like when you're doing this, when you are ripping off cancer patients who will die because they're not getting proper treatment, so that you can profit, and also you've got people getting HIV from used needles for your profit. I don't know. I kind of feel like you need to serve the whole 20 years at that point, if not longer. Let's see. In addition to commuting sentences for nearly 1,500 individuals on home confinement, Biden pardoned 39 people convicted of nonviolent offenses. All right, what else do we got here? Other recipients of clemency included Daniel Fillerup. That's a hell of a name. An Alabama physician sentenced to 10 years in prison for illegally distributing fentanyl that resulted in fatal overdose. He should have 10 years for that, and then 10 years for also having the name Fillerup while he's illegally distributing fentanyl that killed people. It seems like an odd one. The Department of Justice said that Fillerup directly contributed to the opioid epidemic. Also, Wendy Hetchman, who was serving 15 years for leading a drug ring linked to a surge in overdose deaths in Nebraska, 2017. So that's only 7 years ago. That's only 7 years ago. Why? Why does she need clemency? I mean, how much crime, how many criminals were the Biden family involved with? I mean, what's going on here? These are just weird. Despite these questionable individuals, the White House has applauded the clemency decisions by Biden, stating that the president remains committed to criminal justice reform. The White House also said that there are more to come before Biden leaves office and that there's a lot more horrible people that Biden owes something to because of his criminal connections to him. I just made that up, but it kind of feels like that's probably the case. I don't know what is. So Biden can't be, or the Biden family can't be connected to all these people, but maybe it is just that he's throwing out so much to hide a few individuals that really look sketchy. Maybe that's what it is. He just wants it to take forever for people to pick through all the 1,500 or the 10,000 or 50,000, whatever it is, by the time he leaves office. While today's announcement marks important progress, there is more to come. President Biden and his family have committed many, many, many crimes. President Biden will continue to review clemency petitions and deliver criminal justice reform in a manner that advances equity and justice. Well, that equity, then, that must explain it. And justice. Well, when you're saying equity and then justice doesn't mean justice. Equity, huh? Promotes public safety. Yeah, that's public safety. Promotes public safety by releasing people who haven't even been in jail for that long, who killed people with fentanyl. Great, that's a great plan. I don't know. What about serial killers? Is there somebody called Night Stalker that he's given clemency to? I mean, you could almost say, you could almost this Sachdeva woman. I mean, you could almost call her a serial killer, diluting patients' chemotherapy drugs. How many people died because of that? If the person claiming to have gotten HIV from a needle used by her clinic? I don't know. She doesn't seem that deserving to me. All right. Izzy says these pardons aren't about justice. Crimes maybe, but not likely any justice here. Well, anytime you've got equity involved, it's not about justice. Anytime the word social is connected to justice, that's definitely not justice. Tennessee convicted a governor of pardons for pay a few years back. That sounds exactly like Joe Biden. That sounds like exactly the sort of thing he would do. So is that what it is? I mean, that just seems too obvious. That they got some bagman somewhere, just collecting this money for these pardons. That just seems almost too coarse, right? Too obvious. But I don't know. I mean, maybe. It's not like they were ever really hiding it. I mean, Joe Biden on camera saying, hey, they fired SOB, or son of a gun, whatever he said, son of a bitch, fired the prosecutor about Burisma. I don't know. It almost feels like they weren't really trying to hide it all that well all along. I mean, there's all those pictures with Joe with all of Hunter's business partners that he apparently had never met or even knew about. Let's see. Let's see. Going back to Steve's question, the big question is who's actually in control? Is he said probably the same cabal that fortified the election. Yeah. You have to think that Obama was involved somehow. Maybe the ringleader. I don't know. Avada says that's big of you, Richie, to make that correction. Well, I'm not here to lie to you. Sometimes I do get it wrong, and if I catch it, I will let you know. There's a lot of information out there, but I do try hard not to get things wrong. As he says, probably selling supplies on the side, and the HIV needle is what got her caught. That's just evil. I mean, that's just evil. I mean, diluting chemotherapy drugs for money to make money. Rhoda says, how much does a needle cost? Come on, man. Well, I don't know. There's some pretty evil people out there who just don't give a shit. Let's see. All right. You know what we're going to do right now? We're 58 minutes in, so we're going to cut off the YouTube portion of the stream. So it's that time of the night. Unfortunately, we start with Rumble and YouTube every stream, but an hour in, we cut off the YouTube part, but we continue on uninterrupted with the Rumble part of the stream, and we'll go on for probably at least another hour or two tonight. So unfortunately, we do have to cut off the YouTube part because there's just problems streaming on YouTube. So we do an hour, and that seems to keep the hassles to a minimum and the risk of having my channel nuked to a minimum. But if you're watching on YouTube right now, please join us on Rumble. Just switch over. Just go to the app, and we're right there, and it's all cool. And there's always way more people over there anyway. There's lots of people. The chat's really busy. The water's great. People are friendly. Introduce yourself. You'll have a great time. It'll be fun. And we're going to keep going for probably at least another hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Who knows? But in any case, we have to shut off Stalin Tube now. So hope to see you soon. If not, we'll see you on we don't see you on Rumble, we'll see you on YouTube on Tuesday. Ah.